Hello and welcome to Biology Explained. Today we're going to be looking at, is the coronavirus mutating? Now firstly, to answer that question, viruses are continuously mutating all the time. And this is no different for the coronavirus in particular. Over the past few months, scientists have started to notice a variety of different strains that have been discovered for the coronavirus in particular. Now, not all these mutations mean that much, which I'll explain in this video, but this video will explain what actually happens in these mutations and what actually needs to happen in the mutation to cause a red flag, which means the coronavirus might actually cause some harm, more harm than it's already caused, and become more deadly. Now, to begin with, a mutation is just a change in the virus, some change in the virus. Viruses themselves are very simple. They're just protein shells containing either DNA or RNA. The coronavirus in particular is RNA. This RNA is composed of nucleotides, A, G, C, U in RNA, or if it was a DNA virus, it has A, G, C, T nucleotides. These nucleotides are building blocks of all the proteins and building blocks of the virus. These nucleotides then form triplets, which are called codons, and these codons code for amino acids, which then lead on to form the viral proteins which it needs in order to reproduce, essentially. A mutation can be as little as one nucleotide change, and this could lead to a change in an amino acid and a possible then change in the function of a protein of the virus, leading to a change in how the virus functions. Now, for coronavirus, a mutation could be in one of the over 30,000 nucleotides it has, so there's a lot of nucleotides which could be changed, but do they? Let's have a look. Now, mutations can have a variety of effects. So it's possible to have a silent mutation, meaning the new codon that's created when one nucleotide changes codes for the same amino acid as the old one, and this means this mutation has no effect. The same nucleotide occurs and there's no function protein change, so it's exactly the same. However, some mutations, even though they do change the nucleotide, actually don't end up in a result in changing how the protein functions, meaning that there's no change in how the virus functions. But some mutations could cause a deadlier virus, meaning the protein that is produced could cause more harm. For example, on the coronavirus, there's been a discovery that there's maybe a mutation in the protein spike of the virus, which is what the virus uses to get into the cell, meaning it's easier for the virus, this mutation in particular, to enter people's cells, meaning it's more easy to catch it, essentially. And that's currently being looked at. So that's an example of a mutation that could actually make the virus more deadly or spread quicker, essentially. Or alternatively, these mutations could make the virus actually function worse, meaning it's less likely to infect people, or it's less contagious, or it's less deadly. So mutations can have a variety of different functions, both good and bad, and they're happening all the time. Now, you may hear the word strain used in the media. That doesn't really mean much. That just means the virus has mutated, and that doesn't necessarily mean this strain is going to be good or bad, but it's essentially happening all the time, and strain's just used because it sounds quite interesting, but doesn't necessarily mean that this is a whole new virus that is now deadly. In fact, viruses are constantly mutating, as I've mentioned previously, and in fact, coronavirus actually isn't as bad at mutating as other viruses like the flu virus. Part of this reason is that when viruses infect a cell, they begin using this cell to copy their RNA to produce new proteins so they can then reproduce. Most viruses don't have the ability to check that RNA that's being copied, meaning it can have many mutations, and the virus ignores these and just keeps producing viruses, meaning you have many mutations in the RNA strain of the viral offspring. Coronavirus is actually able to check its RNA while it's being replicated, meaning it has a lower mutation rate than other viruses. And so that means coronavirus doesn't actually mutate quite as much when it's replicating, which is arguably a good thing because it means a vaccine is more likely to work. So yes, the coronavirus is constantly mutating, as I've outlined above. However, these mutations actually have a small chance of causing the coronavirus to become worse than it was before. But it is important for experiments and tracking of these viral mutations by scientists to still continue, just to ensure that there's no worse mutations that occur, meaning the coronavirus becomes worse than it already is. And it also allows you to track these mutations as a scientist and see where these viral mutations first occurred, and you can maybe pinpoint where this strain of virus entered the country from, or how the different strains of the virus have come from different areas of the world, etc. And it allows you to build a map up of where these viruses are coming from, how much they're mutating, and kind of track down where they're coming from. And maybe I'll talk about that in another video. I hope you've liked the video. Please stay tuned for more content. Like and subscribe. Thank you.